So one of the phenomena? Is that the plural? Phenomena is the plural of phenomenon, right?
David, wrong
Okay.
audience.
One of the phenomena, doesn't sound right, but I think it's right.
One of the wild things that happens when you start coaching, and not just in our program, any sort of personal responsibility coaching.
Personal growth and development.
Yeah.
You'll get divorced.
Friendships break up.
Divorces
happen.
Friendships are not the first to go.
Yeah, they are relationships.
It's always boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife.
I will say usually the person that comes to coaching is because they are having challenges within their business or their relationship. I
think it's important that everyone...
It's not that the coaches are making you get divorced. Sometimes it's like,
okay, so
you should talk to your therapist about that.
Here's the deal.
Okay.
Here's the tea.
Let's get into it.
We know as trained coaches that an individual signs up for a coaching program for two reasons. One, they want a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And two, something's wrong. They think they know what it is, but they don't.
It's always a reactive response because the reality, no one ever starts therapy, no one ever starts coaching, no one ever actively seeks self-help and says, everything's great right now. I should fuck it all up.
You should start when things are good. It's funny that...
I wish more people would because they're in a more conscious place to be like, I know I'm going to open things up and expose things that are very difficult and I want to change and I want to grow and I want to elevate. But that's not ever the case, unfortunately.
I think we've gone through, I guess I can count personally.
I've gone through a lot of
6
divorces
with students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it happens out of nowhere.
I would say I average one a year.
Yeah, we'll be doing... The funny thing is that our methods, we always start with our foundations in our program, which are...
I just want to also be clear, we aren't coaching you on your marriage.
Oh, yeah. And we're not coaching you to get a divorce. It just, it shocks me. And
it's always a side effect and symptom of what I think is a successful coaching relationship because I think a lot of
people are going to be like, I'm scared to get a coach.
Well, they already were, and now they're really terrified. But I think what happens is, and I can tell you what happened to me when I started coaching. I
got a divorce after I got a coach.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't married, so I didn't have the opportunity, but I definitely left. I definitely would have divorced whoever I was with. But I grew and changed so much through a self-development experience that if the other person wasn't going to keep up, it just wasn't going to work. And
you're dating a different person.
And unfortunately, they're dating it.
Exactly.
Yeah, they didn't
You're
sign
now
up for
opening
this.
your eyes to the things because you have more value within yourself. There's a lot more self-love happening, and it sounds cliche, but it's true. And through that, you realize, wow, I don't want that, or I don't want to be treated that way. And also...
It's also very unfair to hope that when you change that everyone else will change.
Yeah.
It's unfair because I think something happens when people go into coaching. They think, I wish my husband could have a coach, or I wish my kids could. It's like, your husband and your kids are doing exactly what they want to do. Where they are in their life is exactly where they want to be. And you have made choices to change.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you better. It makes you different. And therefore, you have to decide, are you happier being different, or are you happier being some other version of yourself for someone else?
Well, I also think then there's the other side of it too, where we've actually seen a partner be so inspired by the change that took place within the person that was in coaching that they decided, I need to do something too, or I want to be a part of what you're learning. And that is my favorite because it's so beautiful. But usually when the divorce or the breakup or the separation happens, it's because the other person truly is just not in a place of wanting to be responsible for their own growth in that moment.
I can't remember where I learned this, so someone can Google it. But apparently there's a study done where people were asked that were divorced, when did you know that you were going to get a divorce?
Yeah.
And the study showed that the number one answer was the day I got married.
Yeah. I mean, I knew the day that I got what's funny, my first marriage, I knew we were very young, and she was a little younger than me, but not by much. But I knew the day we got married, what the fuck are we doing?
Wow.
We got married because it wasn't legal.
Right.
And then we got married again when it was legal, and both of them, I was like, what am I doing? So, but, with Astrid, my
Is that
current
why you
wife,
broke your foot and
yeah, there was
a lot of drama happened?
With my current wife, I knew it was real because I didn't feel that way at all. It was the most beautiful, magical moment ever. And
that study kind of surprised me that like so many people knew and they just did it.
They ignore it.
And I think when you go into,
it's easier.
I think when you go into coaching and you're working with the right person and you become more conscious, you become more aware of yourself and how much control you really do have over your life. You go through all the grieving process of like, oh, this is a lot. I'm scared. And then you're like, oh, I can't ever go back. And
once you know that you have that you're capable of that, you can never go back.
Yeah. And it's just so interesting to me that the alternative to that is that you just do the things and you
just live your life like that.
You're just like, okay, now we get married. I guess we should have kids.
Yeah. I'm just going to run my business this way.
And hopefully I get a 3% raise.
I'm going to just throw a penny in a well. I don't know what people do. But, well, that brings, there's been a lot of talk.
Sid's an alien. She doesn't know what people do. She's like, people throw pennies in wells for good luck, right?
Rub your belly.
That's people's IRA fund now.
Yeah, basically. Well, that's the thing. There's been all these when we first started coaching, we had coaches really young. We talk about it all the time. But when we first started coaching, there wasn't a lot of us in our industry. And now everyone's a coach, right?
Everyone's just a fucking coach.
Everyone was an educator when there was no education. And that's fine. I don't think that's a problem. But what is a problem is a lot of people have not been coaching or not constantly doing their self-work. And we talk about it all the time. Like, our coach holds us so fucking accountable so that we are the best for you all. And we're doing our own work.
Here are 3 rules that you should live by when looking to work with a coach. Number 1, do they have a coach? If the answer is no, do not work with them.
Yep.
Number 2, are they in therapy? If the answer is no, do not work with them.
Because I will pause on that one, because being a coach, you need a therapist because it's
being
a lot.
Being a human, you need a therapist. Yeah. But if you have a coach who does not have a therapist, their own coach, not well, I guess this one isn't necessary.
But you like to look for it,
Like, I want to know if you are taking medication for your mental health.
I guess that's not necessary, but
not everyone has to. But
for me, it's, are you doing the work that you're teaching?
Yeah.
We hold our coaches super accountable to that, because I'm like, how can you be teaching them that if you're not going to do it? And then they're like, oh my God. And that's the point. We're still coaching our coaches. Our coaches have coaches.
And I think it's important to know that there are coaches out there that are just self-proclaimed coaches, which, cool, whatever. Everyone has something to teach. But if you're looking...
I think everyone has something valuable to teach, but are you causing harm?
Well, that's not even... The answer is always yes. But is what you're learning connected to anything besides that person?
Yeah.
Which then we're getting into the cult stuff, because there's a lot of coaching methods out there that are very culty, and you have to do things this way. I think
anything with a community feels culty, and unfortunately,
people think I mean, we get accused of running a cult. I wish we'd probably make more money if we did, but the difference is the information that we're teaching. It's not you and I at the top, and that's the end of the train.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the information that we're teaching is, half our experience, half what we're learning.
It's majority experience, because we're doing the things that we're telling our students to do.
But I mean, we're in the teaching.
Yeah.
But it's not like we didn't come up with how to streamline your overhead.
Yeah.
We didn't make that up.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
We didn't make up emotional intelligence. We're just choosing that as our niche.
Yeah. And it's like, when you get with people when you start working with people that think or teach you that the only way to get ahead is by being with them. I mean, most corporations are cults.
I know.
A lot of beauty brands are
We're
very
the best.
culty.
Blah, blah, blah. I will say, so like recently, a lot of people have been like, I invested so much money and it was, crappy coaching and blah, 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 blah. Not with us, but I'm saying like someone recently had spent a lot of money. I know. I'm like, this wasn't something that happened
to us. Should have started with that.
I know, right? Someone recently invested like tens of thousands of dollars into coaching. It was a horrible experience, and they publicly talked about it just as a warning sign to what to look for. And I think that it is important to talk about your experience. And it's not the money part that bothers me.
I've spent way more than $10,000 on coaching.
Absolutely. It's because yes, there are different levels of price points for coaching, and you have to pick the coach that's in your price point.
I think what I agree with is when it becomes levels of coaching.
Yeah, where to move on, you have to invest more. Mm-hmm. That is not okay. So something we do, we call it forever coaching. You stay in as long as you find it beneficial, and
you give us a vial of your blood. You sign a contract with that blood. Your
firstborn child and a toenail.
I don't see anything wrong with that. That is just
that's the standard.
That's just business. We're just doing business.
101. Yes. Another thing is that we're not afraid to fire a student because, again, I've said it in multiple podcasts. If a student's coming to us and they're saying that they don't have the finances to participate in our program,
then don't.
I'm not going to let someone go in debt to be in my program. And I think that's the problem with a lot of coaches, that they will take anybody because they are looking at them as this is money. So they're not really looking at them as like, I want to help you. Where you and I have said from the get-go, money is always the result. How many students can we get to
How can we help? Yeah.
How can we open salons? How can we change? How can we just remove toxicity in this industry? And I think when you really start to focus on that, and also if you're looking for a coach, do your research, talk to their students, really look at what you're going to get.
But I also, just to be fair, if you spend $10,000 and it was a bad experience, that's really not anyone else's fault but your own.
Yeah.
You can try to hold someone accountable, but...
And they should be held accountable.
But
we have to be personally responsible too.
Yeah,
we invested in it.
You invested in it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes you invest in things
that
and they don't
bad.
work out.
Yeah. I also, we don't do contracts.
No contracts.
Like the actual contract that our students sign are to say, this is what you're going to get. Yeah. And this is what we're going to give you. And it's also, like I said, we've fired students because if they're not doing the work, this isn't a gym membership. I want to spend time with students that are actually invested in the work.
Speaking of gym memberships, every gym membership I've ever had has to be illegal.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember I was trying to cancel a gym membership once. Again, but it's on me, right? Because I signed the paperwork.
You signed up. Yep.
I signed up. I paid. I can be mad at them for holding me to what I signed, which is fine.
You still signed the paper.
So I'm trying to cancel. I can't remember what gym it was, but it was in Florida somewhere. And they're like, well, you need to have a doctor's note or a death certificate or proof that you're leaving the country. And I finagled. I have friends in Israel. And I finagled that I was going on a birthright trip to Israel.
To get out of a gym membership?
To get out of a gym membership, and it fucking worked. So, immoral of the story.
Yeah.
Go on a birthright trip to Israel. And you know what? They will not fuck with that.
Yeah.
They're not trying to hurt the Jews.
But you know what cracks me up about people holding people hostage to a program that they sent out, and I understand the money part. Like, you've paid money, you've been in contract with 6 months or whatever, like let's say you signed it. But like if I have a student that's just like, I do not want to work with you,
like, girl,
and I'm not getting value.
Money.
Here's your money.
I
don't want to work with you either.
I'm gonna rip up any contract we may have had. Yeah.
It's not worth it.
I'm like I'm the same. I'm on the same page as you. Maybe
I also
even
am
more
confident.
so, to the point of like, I'm just more like, you're not happy. Give them their money back.
Why are we trapping people?
We don't need. It's not worth. It's not worth it. We're the opposite of a cult.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not worth it.
We don't want anybody.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone to come in.
I also, like I said, I'm confident in our coaching methods that, we've had students for years and years and years, and we have boomerang students. They leave, they take a pause, they come back. I mean, that's a testimonial to, what we're coaching and what we're teaching. And I think, and our coaches and what they're doing. And I think that's the important part is like, we might have a couple people that might not want to be in it, and that's okay. Or maybe they're not ready to do the work or whatever it is. And we give them their money back or, but then we have a lot of people more so that want to be in it.
Someone asked you one time what qualifies you to be a coach, which is one of my favorite questions because it's a good question to ask. I have qualifications. Like I have certificates and all this
certificates,
bullshit. But I got to be honest, those certificates that I have are not what makes me.
I'm like, technically, we're both certified life coaches, but like, what does that even
those,
mean?
We got those just to have them in case someone asks that question. But we don't use what we learned from those places. We actually use different tools and really obviously like any consulting or coaching, you rely on your experiences. But it's just funny when someone says what qualifies me, because though I have the qualifications that I guess one would look for, I think what qualifies me is the fact that I want to help people and I'm willing to risk my own reputation for everyone else.
Yeah.
I think that's what qualifies me to be a coach.
I 100% agree with
Do you 100p agree?
For sure. I think that's what, like, I feel bad for these people being taken advantage by certain coaching companies, but also those coaching companies could have changed someone else's life. And that's why I think you have to be very specific when you're going to invest your money in anything, of really understanding, are you getting what you paid for in the sense of what was told to you?
Also, ask yourself why you're trying to get a coach.
Yeah. What's the root?
Because if you're trying to find a group of people that you can hang out with,
those are just friends, and you shouldn't pay for friends.
What you're describing is friendship, and you should not go into a program for it. Community, okay, mate, we're getting a little, that's okay. Community's okay. But unless you're going into coaching with the mentality of like, I want to grow, change, develop, make more money, learn, be pushed, be held accountable, then yes, then you're ready.
I want to be personally responsible for everything.
But we have a team of people that do our enrollment calls. And it's alarming how many of those calls, when they say, why are you interested in joining Destroy the Hairdresser's coaching program? And a lot of the answer is, I don't really know. Mm-hmm. And I just want you to know that when you say that on an enrollment call, there's a red flag for us, because you not really knowing why you're doing it means that you're not really, I don't know if you're ready.
You're not ready. Yeah.
You're not.
We usually suggest you to take a class, or like
curiosity kills the cat.
We've even recommended other coaching programs. We either, or we'll be like, maybe you should join, our community and just
listen to the podcast.
We've also said that. Why don't you listen to the podcast? And when you're ready to decide what you want your coach to help you with, then you come back. And what other coaching programs are doing that? And I hope more people do. I hope more programs do. Because right now I think the goal is, yes, we want to make a living, and a very profitable one, but I also want it to be not toxic.
That's it. I don't have anything else to say. You said it all.